Ever notice how the less you care, the more she starts chasing you? It's not magic, it's not luck, it's psychology, the raw mechanics of attraction. Most men get this completely wrong. They think connection comes from being overly available, always replying instantly, saying yes to everything, dropping their plans for her. But in truth, that behavior kills mystery, it lowers your value, it smothers desire. What creates that electric pull in her chest isn't your constant presence. It's your intentional absence, that hint of being just out of reach, that subtle signal she hasn't fully figured you out or won you over. That's what lights up her imagination. She starts wondering where you are, who you're with, why you're not replying. And suddenly, she's emotionally invested. She's craving your attention, your time, your validation. Neil Strauss figured this out deep in the trenches of seduction, and not just him, any man who truly understands this knows. Desire lives in the unknown. Ask yourself, what's more intoxicating? Something handed to you on a silver platter, or something you almost have but not quite? That's seduction. That's tension. And if you want to master attraction, you must learn to create that tension like flipping a switch. Most guys operate from scarcity. They think, if I don't reply quickly, she'll lose interest. But they don't understand true attraction. The kind that's primal and lasting isn't logical. It's emotional, and emotion is ignited by space, by pursuit. Let me be clear, being less available doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means being a man with a mission, a man who's building something real, who doesn't pause his life just because a beautiful woman appeared. That energy is magnetic. Suddenly, she's the one chasing. Because she senses you're not another guy orbiting her world, you're the center of your own. Here's the truth, humans want what they can't fully have. The moment she senses she's got you wrapped around her finger, everything shifts. She stops chasing, she pulls back, and you start chasing, falling into the exact dynamic that kills attraction. Seduction is a game of energy, and the one who's more emotionally invested loses the upper hand. When you're always available, you're signaling, she's my priority, I've got nothing else going on, I need her approval, and nothing turns off a hive. You woman faster than being pedestalized. This is where preselection kicks in. Women are wired to respond to social proof. They're attuned to cues that say, other women want this man. So when you're not always reachable, it gives the impression that your time is in demand, that your attention is scarce. And what's scarce is always seen as more valuable. You become the man she can't quite figure out, the guy she talks to her friends about, the one who made her feel something and then didn't flood her inbox afterward. You become the guy who lives rent-free in her mind. But here's where most men mess up. They hear be less available and go cold. They ghost. That's not strategy, that's immaturity. We're not playing games, we're engineering tension, strategic tension. You're not avoiding her out of fear. You're just immersed in your purpose, and she can feel that. When a woman senses your life is bigger than her, she wants in. She wants to earn her spot. But the moment she feels like she has you without effort, the thrill dies. She disengages and looks elsewhere for that emotional tension. Let me say it clearly, the man who creates space confidently, without bitterness, he's the one she fantasizes about. She doesn't want a needy man. She doesn't want a man explaining why he didn't text back. She wants a man who moves with purpose. A man who's building something beyond chasing women. That's masculine energy, calm, focused, grounded. From that place, availability becomes a tool, a lever. You control when to give your time, when to pull back. And each time you do it with intention, she invests deeper. She values your presence because she's felt your absence. That contrast is everything, and this isn't manipulation. It's alignment with the man you're becoming, a man who knows his worth, who doesn't overgive access to someone who hasn't earned it. When you live like this, women respond differently. They listen more closely, they initiate more, they respect your time, because they sense you're not another guy trying to fill a void. You're already full. When she can't predict your next move, she becomes curious, and curiosity is power. It creates questions in her mind. What's he thinking? Why do I care so much? That's what keeps her emotionally hooked. She starts investing energy trying to figure you out. That investment is key because now she's chasing. It's not about being mysterious just to be mysterious. It's about being real. About having a life so compelling that you're not constantly available. You're not narrating your day over text like you've got nothing better to do. You move with intention. You engage when it makes sense. And when you step back, you're not punishing her, you're creating space for tension to build. And that tension, it's gold. Timing matters. Too much presence too fast, she feels overwhelmed. Too little, she thinks you don't care. But when you calibrate it just right, you spark interest then retreat slightly to let it breathe. That anticipation becomes the heartbeat of attraction. Every moment you're not texting, her mind fills with possibilities. Most men don't get this. Her imagination is more powerful than anything you could say. When you're unavailable, she's imagining you. She's wondering who you're with, why you haven't responded, most importantly, what she has to do to win more of your attention. That's the frame you want. She's working for your energy, not because you're playing games, because your attention actually means something. Look around. How many men give their energy away freely, instantly, and without restraint? It's constant. It's predictable, it's boring. But when you're the exception, when you're not glued to your phone, when you don't chase, double text, or over-explain, you break the pattern. And that's what gets noticed. High-status men don't chase, they don't need to. Their value is self-evident. And that's how you need to operate. Not with arrogance, but from abundance. Not withholding to punish, but because your time is truly full. Your days are packed with purpose, and that authenticity, it shows. Women feel it. They sense when you've got momentum. And in that space, your availability becomes a reward, not a default. Now she's not just another woman, she's working to be part of a life already in motion. That's where your power is. When she realizes she's not the center of your world, your purpose is. If she wants in, she has to align with your direction, not the other way around. Let's go deeper, because this isn't just a strategy, it's identity. It's about becoming the man who isn't dependent on women's attention for validation. You're not wondering if she replied or decoding emojis. That's low-level thinking. You move slow, you move strong. Your silence speaks louder than most guys' paragraphs. This isn't coldness, it's control, not over her, but over yourself. Once you stop needing a response to feel good, you're free. Free to engage from choice, not desperation, and that energy, it's rare, it's potent, it makes you unforgettable. Here's the brutal truth: neediness is repulsive. Availability born from insecurity reeks of desperation. She knows when you're just sitting around waiting for her text, but when you're the one who chooses how and when to engage, she feels it. She sees the difference. She's not dealing with a boy craving approval. She's engaging with a man, and that energy is irresistible. Every woman wants to feel like she's earned the attention of a man who values himself, not one who hands it out to anyone who shows interest. That's the difference between a seducer and a chaser, a leader and a pleaser. She won't remember every word you said. She'll remember how you made her feel. And if your absence makes her feel intrigued, uncertain, curious, you've already won. Not because you tricked her, but because you mastered yourself. You became the man who lives on his terms. And from that place, you give with intention. You create meaningful moments, and then step away. Not from fear, but from fullness, because you've got things to do, moves to make, a vision to build. She'll respect that. She'll want to be part of it. Because when she sees other men throw themselves at her and sees you, calm, grounded, unmoved, she can't help but feel something primal. She knows you can walk away, not to hurt her, not to play games, but because you don't need her to feel whole. That creates emotional friction, and friction fuels attraction. Women are emotional beings. Their choices around men are rarely logical. They respond to tension, mystery, contrast. Consistency without contrast feels flat. Predictability kills curiosity. But a little uncertainty, a little tension, That's what lights her up. And it's not about being emotionally unavailable. It's about being emotionally compelling. That's the art, knowing when to lean in, when to pull back. Not out of inconsistency, but out of depth. You're a man of layers. She can't figure you out. And when she thinks she has, you change the rhythm. Because here's the truth. Women don't fall in moments of certainty. They fall in moments of doubt. When she feels that flutter, what if I'm losing him? That's when she dives deeper. Not because you're cruel, but because that's how desire works. Neediness is the death of seduction. When she feels she controls your emotions, your attention, she loses respect. She wants to surrender. But only to a man who can hold his frame. Men who know their worth, they're dangerous in the best way. Because they don't chase love like air. They don't see attention as validation. They move with purpose. They choose, and when you live like this, you naturally become less available. Not to play hard to get, but because you are hard to get. You don't need to impress. You don't need to overtalk. You're rooted, and that's magnetic. She'll test you. Delay replies, go cold, just to see if you crack. Most guys chase harder, double text, get emotional. But the grounded man, he stays still, he stays focused, and that drives her wild. Because for once, she's not in control. And that makes her feel safe. That's when she invests, seduces, qualifies herself, not because you asked, but because she feels she has to. That shift is everything. She will only invest in men she respects, and respect is earned by purpose, consistency, and restraint. When you could give more, and don't, not out of punishment, but discipline, she feels the value of your presence. Because it's not constant, it's rare, it's meaningful. That's seduction, delaying gratification, letting her wonder, letting her miss you. And in that space, she values you not for what you give, but for who you are. This isn't about pretending. It's about returning to the man you were before you thought you had to prove yourself to be wanted. Before you believed being always available made you chosen. You've always had the power. The moment you stop chasing, you stand out. What's rare is respected. What's rare is desired. She doesn't want a man who's always there. She wants a man who knows where he's going and who she has to earn the right to walk beside. So the next time you feel the urge to over-explain, over-text, over-give, pause, breathe, and remember, you are the prize. Your time, your energy, your attention, it's earned, not handed out freely, not traded for validation. Given when it aligns with your mission. And if you've made mistakes before, good. That means you're learning. You're growing. This isn't about perfection. It's about progress, becoming more of who you were meant to be. One choice at a time, one breath at a time. And if this message clicked for you, don't keep it to yourself. Other men need this. They're tired of chasing, tired of feeling lost, ready to rise, so drop a comment. Share this. Tell me what hit home the hardest. And if you're ready to stop playing small, to start leading, not chasing, welcome. You're one of us now. Let's raise the standard together.